doing day 10 in Unit 5, and it's tricky because we're looking at graphs of the derivative and the second derivative, and we always mistake it for the function. So we need to really proceed with caution here. When we're looking at the derivative graph, we know when we talk about extreme values like maxes and mins, they show up on the x-axis as values of zero derivative. Second derivative, when we're looking for points of inflection, the same thing. It shows up on the x-axis because possible points of inflections have a second derivative of a value of zero. So we're going to work out those tricky kinks today. Working with tables, tables are really limiting. If you just have a table, mathematically, all I can ask you to do is calculate a slope. Interpretively, I'm not sure that's a word, but if I'm asking you to interpret a table, all I can ask you to do is to make conclusions about the points in the table and not what happens between the points. You would need more information. You would need more information about the function, like it's continuous and always decreasing, to draw conclusions between the points, okay? But if it's just like, hey, here's a table, folks, where's a maximum? You can only look at those points and draw those conclusions. And then the third takeaway, if we have a function, usually doing the derivative and the second derivative number line gets us a ton of information. From there, we should actually be able to sketch the graph. Basically, we're going to work on that after break. But that gets us a ton of information. That's why we have you do that over and over and over. So get that process down and be meticulous. This is the time to be meticulous in things like labeling your number lines F prime and F double prime, because we got two of them now. Making sure we're sticking to those definitions of maxes and mins and concave up and concave down and all those stuff, sticking really close to those definitions. So any questions about that? Okay, just a quick comment. This is a test. This is a question out of your topic questions today. And I want to do a quick comment really specifically about calculator type questions, okay? When they give you a calculator type question, they don't want you to do any calculus. They want you to do it all on your calculator. So if this type of question is saying, we've had a couple questions like this in the notes, right? Where's the graph of H both increasing and concave down? We're going to graph the derivative and graph the second derivative. Okay, we're going to make sure we're in radian mode because oftentimes on calculator questions, they're going to ask you about trig. Okay, familiar with it? Okay, and we want to be savvy because a lot of trig, trig oscillates. So that's a lot to look at. To focus yourself, put this in the window, restrict the window to the indicated domain. So when you go into your window, your X-min and your X-max should be those two things. Chances are your Y-min and your Y-max are probably minus and plus 10, that standard window range. And these questions should go relatively quickly. So it would be kind of like I'm going to kind of run you through this, I think. Here is the derivative and the second derivative. And so increasing and concave down, increasing means positive derivative, concave down means negative second derivative, right? So if the red curve is my derivative, my positive values are here. Does that make sense? They're above the axis. So my positive values are up here in quadrants 1 and 2. Actually, I probably could have even taken this rectangle. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take that rectangle because really those positive derivative values go all the way back to here. Does that make sense? Oh, oops. Okay, those positive derivative. They're all the way back there because they're up in quadrants 1 and 2. The red curve is the derivative value curve. Okay, and then the negative, and I probably have this wrong as well, the negative second derivative values that we care about, we have some negative values down here too, but we don't care about it because we don't have red, the red shaded region, we don't have positive derivatives back there. So the negative second derivatives are here, so we can see we overlap right here. So these questions go that quickly, okay? And then we look at our answer options, and we look at an answer option that these tick marks, we know this is 0 and 1 and 2 because of our domain we set. That's why it's so important to set that domain. So we know that we start at 1 and we go to something that looks like it's about 1 3/4 maybe. And that's as close as we need to get to pick out the right answer. And then we move on. So this is maybe only like a 30-minute question, or 30-minute, hope not, 30-second question. Even though you get close to 3 minutes to do calculator multiple choices. Okay, so so just kind of some strategies there for navigating the calculator sort of choices. One caveat: if this were a free response, you would have to do a second calc 0 to find what this right endpoint would be, because you would have to give it in a free response question, you'd have to give that decimal to 3 decimal places. So you'd have to do a second calc 0. So if you don't know how to do a second calc 0 when you get to this in the topic questions, if you want me to go through with you on how to do that in your calculator, let me know. If you're at home, seriously, Google this sort of stuff. How to calculate a 0 on a TI-84. Look, there's probably a dozen 30-second videos on YouTube as to how to do it. Okay, so our summary then is that we are going to rely on what derivatives reveal, that organizational table in your notes, so that we can predict and explain. We can answer and justify, basically, in College Board's verbiage, answer and justify the behavior of the function. So our class activities are to do our topic questions. Is today the day I give you some free response to multiple choice in your note packet? I think it is. Yeah. Okay, yeah, B and C, right? Because I accidentally put A, B, C, and D on a couple days ago, and I said only do A and B. This is the C and D portion of that question. So if you did the C and D portion a couple days ago, you could actually skip it. Because I think it was back in day 8. Or maybe no, it wasn't day 9. I bet it was day 8, yeah. So if you did the whole free response question in day 8, then you actually did C and D. Okay, so looking ahead, there's no notes for tomorrow because we're still working on this same essential question. We do have a quiz at the beginning of class. We'll take that. And then the new con for tonight is this. So tomorrow you won't have any new con. So tomorrow would be a good opportunity to get maybe some old topic question in College Board done that you didn't do for some reason or another. All right. So I'm going to stop the video, but obviously keep the session live so that in case you have questions, you can ask them.